Welcome back to another video, guys. As you can see in my library, different setup. Today we're doing a video that I've actually been thinking about doing for like a while, and that video is five of my favorite books of 2023, and then 5 of the worst books of 2023 in my opinion, of course. Right, so let's get started. The first one I picked is none other than It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Sorry, you can't like see that because of the glare. I'll just turn that down. The first one that I picked is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I really like this book. If you didn't watch my videos of me constantly talking about this book, so I'm gonna keep it very simple. Everybody knows about this book. It's one of the most famous books of the year, I would say to myself. And I've talked about this book constantly. I've talked about the special edition constantly. It's absolutely beautiful, and I love this book. I rated it 5 stars. I loved the message behind it. I totally got what she was doing. I loved how the book is a little like inspired by her relationship that she saw between her mum and her dad. This is actually the only book I think where I've ever read the acknowledgements, because I loved the book so much and I didn't want it to end, to the point where I even read the acknowledgements because I was like, no, it can't be over, I want more. And I loved it so much. This book literally tore up my heart. The quotes, I love it. I've got multiple copies of this book, and yeah, so this is definitely, if I have to say, my best book of the year. My favorite book of the year, hands down, has to be It Ends With Us. Now, coming in at close second, not even close second, I honestly cannot make my mind up between It Ends With Us and Icebreaker for favorite book of the year. I just can't make up my mind. It's either Icebreaker. I rated them both 5 stars. I love them both for very different reasons. I love the message in It Ends With Us and Icebreaker. When I say I like romance books, but like my favorite genre is fantasy, and I've said this in so many videos, but when I say I like romance, this is the type of romance books I like. And I'll make a comparison, because one of the books that I put as worst book I've read of the year is actually the exact opposite of what I like in romances. So you'll see in a minute when I talk about the worst books what I do like in romances, which this book did amazingly, and what I don't like in romances. But yeah, I rated it 5 stars, and I honestly can't make a choice between It Ends With Us and Icebreaker for best book of the year. I just can't. The found family in this book, I don't feel like many people mention the found family that much in this book. But yeah, this book has heavy found family. At least I think it's found family. To me, it is found family, and I love it. And if you like found family, I feel like you'll definitely like this. I really like it so much, and I like want everyone to read this book, because I feel like you can also learn so much from this book, as well as It Ends With Us. You can learn so much from this book. This book and It Ends With Us changed me as a person, and I'm not even joking. So yeah, definitely best book of the year that I've read, tied in first with It Ends With Us. Next is none other than Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. Of course, I love this book, rated it 5 stars. The ending, the plot twist, not really a plot twist, but like the secrets that you uncover, the relationship between BJ and Magnolia. Oh, I can't. I'm currently in the middle of Magnolia The Long Way Home, and I can't wait to finish that. I can't wait to finish the rest of the series. Like, the book is so frustrating and the characters are so frustrating, but in a good way. For example, I feel like many people say, oh, I don't like this book or that book or Magnolia Parks because the characters are so frustrating and everything like that. But to me, that doesn't mean that the book's not good. Like, I can admit that a character is being frustrating and still really like the book. I admit the characters in this book are absolutely frustrating. If you like frustrating characters that you have to like almost like want to punch in the face every single second, you're not gonna like this book. But to me, that's not like, that didn't make the book any worse, especially when you could see that Jessa Hastings, I feel like she was doing it on purpose. It was meant the characters to be that annoying, like it was intentional. I get it if a character in a book or something happens in a book a scenario that's really annoying and it's like unintentionally annoying, or when the characters are unintentionally annoying. But in this book, I feel like when the characters are intentionally annoying and when the author made it that way, I feel like I can get past that, because I also don't like annoying characters, but I don't like it when it's unintentional. When I can see why the author made them this way, like the characters are annoying but they're annoying for a reason. It's not just, oh, unintentional annoyance. No, the author knew what she was doing. She made the character these ways for a reason, and that's when I like it, because when I feel like it actually has something that forwards the plot. So I personally love this book. Love Daisy Hates. I rated it 4 stars. This I rated 5 stars. And The Long Way Home, I'm currently in the middle of, but I've no doubt that I'm going to rate it 4, if not 5 stars, because I don't think any book in the series is going to get below 4 stars. I'm just in love with it. As soon as I read the first book, I knew there was other books in the series. As soon as I read the first book, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a 5-star series. I haven't read the rest of the book. I don't even care. This is going to be a 5-star series. And it is. 5-star series. Next is Verity by Colleen Hoover. I thought I wanted to put like a little thriller in there to mix and match, because it's like, there's a lot of romances. So I wanted to do some little different genres. It was actually a little bit hard to pick out between 5 books, because I also wanted to pick some other books here, and I might put them at the end as an honorable mention, because I do have one. I switched one book out at the end because I was looking at my shelves and I picked one book out, and I took that book out and put Verity instead, because I was looking at it and I was like, I actually kind of liked Verity more than that book, so I put it there. But it will be as an honorable mention at the end. And Verity rated it 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. Colleen Hoover, I know she's a romance author. I didn't know she did thrillers. I know that she does, and then I found out she did Verity, and then I think she did Lila as well. But other than that, I didn't know she did thrillers, and I was like, I went into this book not expecting much, because Colleen Hoover is mainly a romance writer. So I was like, it's a thriller. I'm not going to expect much from it. It was amazing. The plot twist. Like, this is the only thriller that I could not read at night. All the other thrillers, they're thrillers in a way of murder mystery. Who did it? Like, who done it? Who's the murderer? We need to find out these clues. That to me isn't scary, because it's not like a scary scenario. So you're just trying to find out, like a murder mystery type vibe, like One of Us is Lying and Karen and McManus. Those books to me aren't scary. They're like fun thrillers, which I know can seem a bit weird, since murder mystery thrillers involve actual murder and like attempted murder and stuff like that. And for some reason, those are the type of books that scare me the less. But thrillers like this, this is mainly a psychological thriller. There's not really any murder involved. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's not really any murder involved. Like, it isn't a murder mystery. It's a psychological thriller. For me, psychological thrillers are way, way scarier than murder mystery thrillers, which I know is weird, since murder mystery involves a murder, but I don't know. This is like the one thriller. I've read many thrillers, like you can see from my top. This is the one thriller that I could not read at night. I thought it was fine. I've never been like so scared of reading a book, or so scared that I was reading a book that I couldn't read it at night. So I was like, oh, I know it's a thriller, but I'll be fine, because I'm usually not scared of reading thrillers. I don't even think I'd be scared reading horror, because I don't know, it's different reading it than watching it. But something just got me in this book when I was reading it. I cannot read it at night whatsoever. Sorry, by the way, that I haven't been given a description of these books. The reason why I didn't give a description of Icebreaker and Magnolia Parks is because it's a very famous book. But Verity basically involves this woman named Lauren, who's a struggling writer, and she gets hired by this guy to become his wife's ghostwriter, basically, because his wife got into an accident and then she got into a coma. But his wife is a very famous author and her books aren't finished. So basically her husband hires her to go to live at the house, go to the house, look through her notes and finish the books for her. And weird stuff starts happening with the wife, with the husband. There is a romance in this, but I personally didn't like the romance. I thought the romance was like, ew. I didn't really like the husband in this book, but I didn't even care, because the book's it's not like a romance book, it's a thriller book, so to me, the romance didn't really matter, but there is a bit of romance if you like romance. I just personally didn't like it. I didn't like the husband as a character yeah. But yeah, there's a child in this as well. This is the first time I've ever said that a child is creepy. I don't read many books that have children in them. This is actually one of the first books that I've read that have children in them. So yeah, but I loved it. Kept me on the edge of my seat. I read it like really fast. I think read it in a couple days and I really liked it. Next is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I annotated. This is basically about a girl, Evelyn Hugo, and it's basically her life, and she basically picks out this reporter and to tell her story to about her 7 husbands, how she married her 7 husbands, how it came to be, and she's like an actress in Hollywood, and it basically follows her from like the 80s, 90s, how she became an actress, how she became a famous actress, her journey to stardom. And I feel like I can say this is a very feminist novel. It talks about the struggles of it talks about the struggles of women in the industry of like acting and how hard they had to work, especially back in the day. Obviously things are a bit better now, but like especially back in the day when they had to work twice as hard, and how most of them had to use their looks to get the parts that they want, because that's the only way that they were seen as valuable in movies and everything like that. And I annotated it. I absolutely loved it. The quotes in this book were absolutely amazing. I'm gonna try and find some quotes. I made it a 50-50, which is about the cruelest thing you can do to someone you love. Give them just enough good to make them stick through a hell lot of bad. I love the quotes in this book. I would reread this book. This book is amazing. And here's why it works. No matter your gender or sexual orientation, we all just want to be teased. People think that intimacy is about sex, but intimacy is about truth. When you realize you can tell someone your truth, when you can show yourself to them, when you can stand in front of them bare and their response is, "You're safe with me," that's intimacy. That is probably my favourite book. That is probably my favourite quote ever in this book. Like, tattoo that quote on me. This book has and It Ends With Us has such good tattooable quotes that I want to tattoo on my body. Yeah, I love it. This is definitely a rereadable book that I might read. I will definitely be reading more Taylor Jenkins Reid. I did read Malibu Rising, didn't really like that, but I've got Daisy Jones and the Six, which I'm really excited to read during the summer. I'm saving that for the summer. And it's kind of more like this. It's like interview style, because most of the book takes place with the reporter doing an interview of Evelyn Hugo when she's like old and telling her story. So it's basically like interview style, and you get to see into the past, and it switches from the past to the future to the past to the future, which she does a lot in her books. She did the same thing in Malibu Rising, and she did the same thing also in Daisy Jones and the Six. Her writing is absolutely amazing. Even though I didn't really like Malibu Rising, her writing is absolutely amazing. The way she can write between the past and the future is so easily to make it flow, so it's not confusing at all. Some people I know have like an issue with time jumps and like stuff because it can get confusing and muddled, but she doesn't make it confusing at all. I was not confused at one point during this book. I knew exactly what was going on and I loved it. It's actually making me want to read this book again and reread it. I just love it so much. Those are all the 5 books. Those are all my 5 favorite books of the year. Now it's time to move on to my 5 least favorite books of the year, which, yeah, there's a few of them. Number 1, The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. Now, I know what you're thinking. Beatrice, how could you? Beatrice, I can't believe you. Listen, personally, I did not like this book. I don't even know if I read it this year. I'm 100% sure I read it this year, yeah. I, for some reason, just didn't like this book. I thought I would because my thing is enemies to lovers. I love enemies to lovers. That's my favourite trope. Enemies to lovers and the love triangle trope is my favourite trope. I know, don't kill me. I know most people hate the love triangle trope, but I fucking love it if it's done right. And yeah, I just didn't like this book for some reason. I didn't feel the chemistry. I actually didn't even read this, so I don't know if it counts. I actually kind of DNF'd this book. I didn't even finish it. I know she's got a second book, The American Roommate Experience. Not interested in reading it, but this is about a woman who is going to a wedding in Spain, and she's got this guy at her work who they don't get along, they're enemies, and she says that she's got a boyfriend that she's bringing to her date, and basically now she just liked her family, so she's got to find someone to go with her to the wedding, and that ends up being him. I didn't even get to the wedding part. Like, they hadn't even left for Spain, and I already DNF'd this book. Like, they were still in the office. They hadn't even gotten on the plane. Like, and I DNF'd this book like maybe 10% of the way through, if less. For some reason, I just wasn't feeling the chemistry, like, at all. I just, like, wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling the love. I don't know. I just didn't really like it. I might try it again, but this is one of the books that I'm going to probably give away to charity or something. If I try it again, I might try to read it again on the Kindle. It could just be that I was in a book slump and I wasn't in the mood for romance. So it could just be that. Now that I'm more inclined to romance, I might try read it again, because I read it at the start of the year when I was more in my fantasy era. But maybe now that I'm in my romance era, I'll give it another try. But probably on the Kindle. I'm probably not gonna. I can't decide if I'm gonna throw this away or not, because I honestly don't know if I just didn't like it because I've been reading some. But yeah, worst book I've read of the year. Now this one I'm definitely going to be throwing away. Now, how I said about the romance book when I was talking about Icebreaker and the romance books that I do like, and the exact opposite of that. This is the exact opposite of that. I hated this book. I finished it, but I hated it so much. I bought it because the cover looks cute, and that's why you should never judge a book by a cover. I personally didn't like this. If you like this book, that's fine. I just personally did not. I did not like the main girl character. This book is very short. The thing about me, I like long romance books. No, it doesn't have to be like 600 pages, but I'm talking about Icebreaker. Icebreaker is way longer than that. Like Icebreaker, Magnolia Parks, long romance books. As soon as I saw this and I saw that it was so short, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that, because short romance books are just not for me. If it's like 200 pages or below, I just won't like it, because it's really, really hard as an author for you to cram so much chemistry, cram so much love, so much romance, to build up the characters as well as individuals in 200 pages. This is why I personally don't like it. In my type of romance books, I like it when the characters are both built up as individuals first, and then they get together. The reason why I didn't like this is I didn't feel like the characters were built up individually first before they got together. I thought it was just like very quick. I didn't know anything about the characters as individual people, and if I'm going to care about the relationship, I need to care about the characters as individuals. If I don't care about them as individuals, I don't care about the relationship, because I don't freaking know them. That was my main problem with this book. Second problem, the main female character, so mean. I was like going in with an open mind. This is a best friends to lovers, which tends to be not my trope. My favorite trope is enemies to lovers. Best friends to lovers is like literally like the exact opposite of that. So not really my trope. This is actually the first best friends to lovers book that I've ever read. I don't think I'll be reading one again, because I'm just like, this is why I don't like best friends to lovers. This is why I don't like it. The female character was just so condescending at first. Like, I actually underlined a quote. It says here, because I am Nathan's best friend. I'm the one who's been through it all with him, and he's been through it all with me. Like, she was talking about his girlfriend at the time he was dating. I don't think they were official, but he was dating this girl, and she's just very condescending. Like, I'm his best friend. You'll never beat me. I'm his number one. You think he's gonna choose you over me? Haha. Think again. I'm his best friend. I'm like, okay, that's why best friends still this is like not for me, because I'm just like, okay, that's just very rude. But yeah, I just didn't like this book because one, they didn't build them up individually. The first chapter was them together. I just feel like I didn't get to know them as an individual person before getting to know them as a couple, which really just didn't do anything for the chemistry. And then also, in the first chapter, the main girl is just being a total bitch. So yeah, I was like, not it. I was already feeling off about it, but I tried to get past it. But yeah, the best thing about this book was the friend group that the main guy had with his friends. It kind of reminded me like with Icebreaker, but like a very bad version of Icebreaker's friendship. I rated it 3 stars in the book. I put my ratings in the book, guys. I don't know if like you do that, but I put the start date, the day I finished, and the rating. I rated it 3 stars. I'd turn down my rating and probably say it's more of a 1 star. Next is The Summer I Turned Pretty. Now, this isn't, I wouldn't say this is this isn't the worst book I've ever read in my life. It was disappointing. This is probably one of my most disappointing reads. It's not like it's the worst, but it's a disappointing read. I rated it 3 stars, which is a fair assessment. I would keep it 3 stars. Like, it was just very disappointing. I wanted more from it. This is about, well, this is a romance love triangle between, what's her name again? Conrad, Jeremiah, and Belly, and they always go to their family's house for the summer. They're all friends and whatever. But she's always been in love with Conrad, and this year she's had a major glow up, and yeah, things ensue. But the first book, it's more, I don't know about the rest of the book in the series because I never read them. I read this on like a plane. The first book is kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't have any romance. I thought it had way more romance. This is mainly just, this is set in the past, like the past summers that she's been there, and it's in the present summer, the summer where she had the glow up. And I personally just think that it was like, this was more of a setup book, setting up for the other 2 books, because it's literally just setting up for their childhood. Literally, what you get through 90% of this book is just her childhood and her friendship with Conrad and a bit of Jeremiah. And I'm like, okay, but where's the romance? I'm getting their friendship a lot. I'm getting how they were friends and how they had this little flirtations here and there. But where's the present romance? Like, in time, glow up summer romance. Because I didn't get any of that. I just didn't get any romance in this book. I watched the TV show. I watched season 1. Season 1 of the TV show, loved it. It was really good. I liked that better than like the book. I just didn't feel any romance in this. It was mainly just backstory. It was mainly just childhood friendships and showing the childhood friendships that would lead into romance in the other 2 books. So yeah, I just didn't really like it because I feel like it could have been set up, maybe it could have been a bit longer. You know, short books are the thing that is mainly in this book's least favorite books of the year. I don't know, maybe I just don't like short books. Yeah, I think that's it. Short books, I don't really like them. I like longer books. Next is The First to Die at the End. Again, this was not a horrible book. It wasn't the worst book I've ever read. I rated it 3 stars as well, which again I would say is a fair assessment. It was just a disappointing read. I read They Both Die at the End like maybe in 2022, and I really liked it. I think I rated it 4 stars. Very upsetting, made me cry. Well, maybe tear up. I loved it. This, I don't know why, I just didn't feel the characters' chemistry. I didn't really like it that much. You got way more perspectives in this book than you did in They Both Die at the End. In this book, you got like perspectives from many different characters, which I guess I also liked, but I feel like that is what took away from the characters' relationships, because I just didn't know. One reason I didn't like this book is because I didn't feel the chemistry with these 2 characters as much as I felt with the first 2 characters. And yeah, I feel like they could have focused on the first two characters maybe a bit more, and maybe the reason, maybe they had it's because they had so many perspectives that the first two characters just kind of fell into the background. I don't know. And this is basically about the first time Deathcast is introduced into the world. So it's like kind of like a prequel of the first time it was introduced, and you follow obviously the two main characters, which don't even remember the name of, Orion and Valentino. And then you also follow the creator of Deathcast, and you follow a couple of their friends, and obviously the people that are affected throughout the day and stuff. But yeah, it was alright. It just was a bit disappointing. That's why it's on my disappointed reads. Let's say most of this list is just disappointing reads. It's not really least favourite books, but like it's not hated, it's just my least favourite books, because they're just a bit disappointing for me. Next is My Killer Vacation, which I read in the summer, obviously. This is again another short book that I found okay but didn't really like. I rated it 4 stars. Looking back, I'd now rate it 3 stars. So yeah, I liked it, but it's not a book that I'd ever reread, basically. I would never reread this, not even during summer. It was alright. This is kind of like a thriller. Someone was murdered in a house, I think, and this woman who's there on vacation, she meets this guy who's a private investigator, and basically they team up, and she listens to true crime podcasts. They basically team up to try and find out what happened here. And yeah, I liked it. I liked the mystery aspect of it. The romance was okay. It wasn't like anything to die for. I can't even remember the characters' names. The romance was okay. The mystery was okay. I can remember hardly anything about this book. But it's a good, fun time. It's like, I would recommend this. If you're looking for a summer thriller book to read that's like fun and light with a good romance, read this, because I recommend it. It's just not anything that I would reread. So I'm like, if I'm not going to reread it, if I don't even look at it twice, if I never even think about it, why would I keep it? So yeah, 3 stars. We will now be doing an honourable mention, and that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is the one I switched for Verity because I also loved this book. The floppiness of this is amazing. I rated this 4 stars, I think. Yeah, I rated this 4 stars. But I switched for Verity because I rated Verity 5 stars, and I did like that better than this one. But I read this before Verity. I read this in February. Some people don't like this book because the characters are very much, not morally grey, but the characters in this book are not likable at all. And like I said, it's not that I like unlikable characters, but I don't mind it when the characters are unlikable if it's done intentionally, which I think this is very much done intentionally. The characters are not supposed to be likable. This is like a dark academia book. I honestly forgot the main guy it follows, but it follows this main guy who goes to a college in New England, takes this class. Basically, our main character, he goes to this college. He takes this class that's not very popular. There's like 5 other people in the class. I forgot what it was. It might have been Greek. I don't know what the class is about. I don't know. Something dark academia-ish. But they take the class together and basically they become friends, sort of. And basically it takes it on from there. And it follows... They have this really eccentric professor who like teaches them all these things. It's like a really dark class. But yeah, and they learn some things from this like class that like gets them in trouble. Some things end up happening. It's like, I don't even know how to describe this book. I honestly don't know how to describe this book. It's very weird. The characters not likable. The story, the plot, the drama, great. I rated this 4 stars. It would have been a 5. The only thing is, look how big this chapter is. Look how big this book is, right? This to me is a normal sized book. When I say I don't like small books, that's what I mean. This to me is like a good sized book that I would rate at least a 4. This has like 600 pages around. This has 600 pages and there's 10 chapters in here. That's right. The chapters, for some weird, strange reason are huge. If anybody knows why Donna Tartt did this, please put it in the comments. 600 something pages, 10 chapters. If you know me, I hate long chapters. Absolutely hate long chapters. I hate long chapters to the point that if a book has long chapters, that may contribute to my rating of it, which clearly it did. If this didn't have long chapters like that, I would have rated this 5 stars. Without a doubt, I would have rated this 5 stars. If it had didn't even need to have short chapters. It could have had medium-sized chapters or like 10 pages between each chapter. To me, 10 pages is too long. But even if it had 10 pages between each chapter, that's like normal, okay? But 10 chapters in a 600-page book, that's not normal. That's like way too many pages in between each chapter. So yeah, rated it 4 stars. If it was a normal amount of chapters for a normal 600-page book, I would have rated it 5 stars. No doubt. And yes, I know that's a bit petty of me, because it's about the content of the book. I rate my books based on reader experience, and the amount of chapters a book has contributes personally to my reading experience. I would have loved this book so much more if it had shorter chapters, because it just went on so long. The floppiness though is absolutely amazing. But yeah, really like this book. Very much an honorable mention. It could have been shorter in chapters. Personally, I don't feel like it being long chapters affects the book whatsoever. If this was like 35 chapters, to me it would have been the exact same story. So at least if you do something like weirdly put so few chapters in a 600-page book, have it be for a reason. Like, I don't know what was the reason for that. Now, this video has gone on way too long, so yeah, those are all the books that I loved and disliked in 2023. I really hope you liked it. I'm hoping to get more on my reading game this year. I want to have a good reading year. My Goodreads goal is 50 books. You'll see in the description. You can visit my Goodreads and everything. But yeah, my Goodreads goal is 50. Hopefully I can reach that. I really want to have a good reading goal. Even if I don't reach my reading goal, I want to at least have a good reading year in terms of reading 5-star books. I've got like a whole TBR card that I need to finish, and my goal for this year is to finish my TBR, or at least majority of it. 80%, let's say. I want to finish 80% of my TBR by the end of the year. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye!